Hi everyone, Cassie and Eric here, and thanks for joining us on She Talks, He Listens, the podcast where we dive into the ups and downs of relationships through all of life's twists and turns.
We're here to share our journey with you and explore the many lessons we've learned along the way. Whether you're just starting out, hoping to strengthen your relationship, or working to reconnect, we've got you covered. Join us as we challenge and inspire you to grow together and become the very best versions of yourself, side by side.
Welcome back, everybody, to She Talks, He Listens.
Hi, everybody.
It's a beautiful day here in Alabama. We've seen the sun for the first time in what feels like weeks. Survived a Alabama snowstorm, which includes basically like less than a half inch of snow.
But the whole world shuts
But
down.
the city shuts down.
Yeah,
School was out.
Yeah.
Had both kids at home. But we are survivors.
We made it.
we did make it through.
Excited to be back with you guys. Today we're going to talk about how the transition from one kid to two has been going. We're going to talk about, what we're doing to kind of manage this transition. I almost said manage the struggle. It is a struggle.
Either works, yeah.
And just how we're getting through it. But it's already been a big day for us, but before we jump in, we want to do our victory laps. I put it on a sticky note over here so that we wouldn't forget, because last time we forgot our victory laps.
We did forget victory laps.
You want to kick us off? What's your victory?
Yeah, I think, just in the spirit of the episode being about transitions, just our oldest sleeping through the night is a huge victory. I think we've actually had 2 nights in a row where she has slept through the night now. Yeah. She was waking up between like 12:30 and 2:30 a.m.
Yeah, we'll talk more about that.
And it was brutal. She was not going back to sleep. But anyways, that's mine. What's yours?
Victory lap. My victory lap was I got to have a little spa date with one of my girlfriends, one of my closest friends. We went for a few hours, and I had gift cards that I had to spend. And so I scheduled this before I had the baby. And really the true victory is the fact that I could feel good about leaving this soon after and knowing you're going to hold the fort down. It was after one of my services that the lady was like, you don't have any missed calls. You don't have any texts. Your phone wasn't blowing up. And I'm like, yeah. And she just couldn't believe that. She couldn't get over the fact that you were able to hold the fort down. I'm like, we're a team. We are a united front, and you crushed it yesterday. And I got to go have a couple of hours to reset, which was really nice.
When do I get my 6 hours of reset?
You told me. I asked you. But I don't think you were wanting to be at the spot.
It'll be coming soon.
Yeah. An IOU. You can put it on. Hey,
put it on my tab.
I owe him one.
Credit.
Actually, what about the 9 months that I carried our baby, or the trips that you went on when Autumn was pregnant?
I was pampering you during that time.
No. Nope. We do have our newest little addition here with us, and we're going to pray that she lets us get through this episode. So we'll see how that goes. But before we even left the house, you were comparing me to Blippi. That was a first. Mm-hmm. And then we got to go on a really awesome family Dunkin' date. And the craziest part about all of that was, now that we have 2, you were loading up Sophie. I was trying to help Hallie. Our hands were full. We had all these drinks because now I have a drink. You have a drink. Hallie has to have a drink. She has her own Dunkin' water. It's special water.
She has to be official.
In her mind. And we are driving off towards exiting the parking lot, getting ready to pull out. And I don't know what came over me, but I am just shouting at you with no words and pointing, thinking that you're going to be able to understand what I'm saying. I don't know what was going through your mind.
I thought we were about to get in a wreck, and she's over here grunting at me like a caveman,
yeah, and pointing. I don't know what was happening.
What?
I left all of my drinks on the hood of our car that we were now driving. And I was trying to get you to stop. It didn't work. Well, it did work, but it wasn't effective.
Well, I ended up seeing them.
Yeah.
As I was looking for the car that's oncoming, I see 2 drinks on the outside of the car.
Words are hard right now. It's hard to find words. And we also had the cutest little moment with Hallie Girl. So the day before, we were driving home from school, and Hallie had told me that it was her teacher's birthday. tomorrow. She would have said, it's my teacher's birthday tomorrow, not Jesus's birthday. That's what she told me. And I'm like, okay. And then we were at Dunkin' and she said, again, it's my teacher's birthday today. And, she wanted to get her a little something. And I'm like, okay, we've got a 50-50 shot that it's actually her birthday or she's just saying that. And so I actually called school to ask if it was her teacher's birthday, and they were like, "Oh, let us check." And Hallie was right. It was her teacher's birthday. So we've had really hard drop-offs lately, like since, which they've never been easy, but they've been way harder since having Sophie girl. And so today we got to like drop off these treats, and Hallie was leaping into school. And so last episode, we talked about the crazy things Hallie was saying about breastfeeding and like the new baby. But I think for us on, this week's what our stuff our kids say, it was really Hallie like having this huge heart and remembering her teacher's birthday and being so thoughtful and leaping into school to take this little box of donuts. And I mean, once she took them into her class, I didn't exist anymore. And so that made my mama heart really happy, because although she says some crazy stuff right now, that was awesome.
Well, she has a big heart like you. She has an attitude like you. She's a mini you. You've created a mini me, is what you've done.
Well, I mean, they're good and bad. There's good and bad things about that, but
It will pay off in the long run. But right now, it's just like I'm battling two of you, and hopefully Sophie here is our calm.
Yeah, she'll be maybe your personality.
Yeah.
We can hope. That's what I said about Hallie, but she acts just like me. So yeah, but it was just so sweet because she was so excited, and I love giving presents. So getting to see her give a present to her teacher, and just the thoughtfulness, and also her memory blows my mind. The fact that she retained that, remembered it, and then reminded us, because I had told her on the way home that she could take a present or we can make a card, but I had forgotten. And so she reminded us, and we thought that was really cute. So on a more appropriate note this week, our stuff our kids say was just pure thoughtfulness and thinking of her teacher. So really, really cool. On the note of Hallie being a ball of energy, attitude, and thoughtfulness, let's talk a little bit about how the transition's gone the last few weeks, like high points. What are your thoughts?
Oh, God. Where do I begin?
Well, it started at the hospital. Things went really well.
Yeah. We had a pretty good setup. You had set up pictures of it was Hallie, so you could say that Sophie was looking at pictures of Hallie all day, and so that was a special moment. Hallie was pretty excited, obviously to meet her little sister. But I just feel like, once we brought her home, I think she's starting to realize that it's like, okay, well, that's my competition for attention, because you're feeding or entertaining Sophie, and we're kind of playing man-to-man coverage here.
Yeah.
You have Sophie, I'm playing with Hallie. So I'd say it's been a pretty big transition since we've been home. And like, she found out that Sophie's sleeping in our room, so she wants to sleep in our room.
Yeah. That was the big thing. That's what really
school drop off. Sophie's in the car. Hallie doesn't understand why she, has to go to school and can't go home with us. So just it's been a lot of adjustments and trying to just find new ways to, ease that transition for her at this point.
Yeah. Well, it's hard because she's 3, so she understands a lot, but she doesn't, you can't like rationalize with her at a higher level. And so the biggest thing has just been, since she doesn't understand why she can't basically be a Velcro baby to me like Sophie can. And so once she found out that Sophie was not in her room upstairs like she thought she had been, because we set up the room, she lost it. And so these like the sleep regression and the behavior and like just every transition is hard, and her meltdowns are way worse, and it is exhausting. And the crazy thing is, she does not require sleep to function. And so she'll wake up at like...
She's a lot like you. She got her full 45 minutes.
Adult, like she's a kid. It's crazy. And so, I mean, here she is up at midnight or 2 a.m. and then she's not going back to sleep. No. And it's like Buddy the Elf. Yeah, she got a full 45 minutes and she made a freaking rocking chair. I'm like, oh my gosh, like, how do we survive like like this. And so, yeah, we are so low functioning. But the last 2 nights, knock on wood, she has slept. And so I think she's figuring it out. But we are figuring it
Yeah, I
out
think one of
too.
the adjustments that we made was, okay, well, we're gonna say we're putting Sophie to bed. Although
Mhm.
she's still in our room, she has both of our attention when we're going upstairs and doing bedtime.
Yeah.
And I think that's been very helpful for her.
Yeah.
We're sticking to our routine of, turning on a show 30 minutes,
Quiet
pre-bedtime.
time, winding down.
Yeah, quiet time winding down. And I think that's helping. So
Yeah. I
it's
think,
just a game. It's, just like in sports or really anything, you have to make adjustments.
yeah,
And
course correct.
we've made a lot of
It's
adjustments over the
really hard
last
to
two
problem
weeks.
solve when you haven't slept.
Yeah.
I will say for my fellow mamas out there, like no one warns you about how hard it is. Well, I shouldn't say that. I did have a friend warn me. No, like no one can prepare you for how hard it is to feel like you can't give one child adequate attention. Like when you have a newborn, I mean, like I'm her food source, and like there are things that I have to do for her that you can't do. And so you've been so good about playing with Hallie and like doing all these crazy games and running around the house and being silly. But like there are times when she just wants me. And so that has been really humbling. And even like getting to have the spa day and like how upset she was that I wasn't there, and
Mhm.
like creating healthy boundaries and separation while also not traumatizing her. It really does suck. Like
Yeah.
this transition. But we're figuring it out. The best thing about this is because I know some kiddos struggle with this, is that she is obsessed with being a big sister and it's her baby. She tells everybody it's her baby and she wants to help and she wants to change diapers and feed her and hold
Very
her.
protective
Yeah.
as well. Like anyone who comes over and holds the baby, she's like, "You're not taking the baby home.
Yeah.
That's my baby."
Yeah, she
So
loves that. So it could be worse because I know there are some kiddos who take it out on the baby. And I mean, when my sister was born, I went and cut all my hair off. Like I think every kid
that's just weird.
it's, no. I think 3-year-old me wanted attention and thought that that would get it.
Well,
Why is that weird?
obviously I was a baby, but my mom always tells the story that she left me in the seat and my older brother like bit my forehead. Like, so we're not at that point. Like we're not
That
biting, we're not
that
hitting.
behavior continued on throughout your life. Maybe
Yeah,
not fighting,
that
but
didn't
the
go away.
violence.
That didn't go away. But yeah, at least we're not to that point. It's all emotions, and
Yeah.
she does have strong emotions, and at least we're not, having to combat, biting, hitting,
Yeah,
that
there's
type of stuff,
she's not
that
doing
type of
anything to
behavior.
Sophie.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we can handle it.
Yeah.
I think the biggest part about like why we're sharing this is what we've learned in this very short amount of time about like just our how we're handling it together. And for me, the word of the year is grace. Like, and that was something I went into this year saying, giving not only like our kids grace, but us grace, our marriage grace, and just being really patient with ourselves. When we had Hallie and my postpartum was so bad, I gave myself no grace. I was so hard on myself, and just hard on us, hard on you. Like there was no grace for anything.
Yeah.
And so we're really trying to remember that. And I think with Hallie, it's the hardest because when she is falling out and acting like an idiot, it's so hard to remember like how big this transition is for her
Well,
and to stay calm and patient.
I'm one of the most patient
You are.
people out there.
And it's
And
tested you.
when she tells me no,
Mhm.
for bedtime at 2:30 in the morning, you don't have patience at 2:30 in the morning. So when I'm like, let's go upstairs to bed, and she tells me no or stop talking to me, it just there's a rage inside, and you just want to let it out. But restrained for the most part.
And I try to really step in the middle of the night because I know between the two of us, that's where I thrive better.
And I mean,
than what you do.
I'm not proud to like just continue doing what I'm doing. Like I want to research what I can do better. So I've done some reading and, just looked at different articles like what can I be doing, and being patient and saying, let me know, when you're ready to do something. So just finding what works
Yeah.
while maintaining patience versus I guess putting fuel on the fire, putting fuel on her fire,
Yeah.
because once you start, obviously yelling at her, she's, escalating. So
Yeah. Well, and I think too, the fact that you're willing to take the time to research is huge. So like for us, the the first lesson is grace. Like that was something we wanted to share. The next thing, like I think that's been really important is to learn to laugh, like when we
Mhm.
can. If you're not laughing through adversity and challenging moments, which this goes back to our hospital story about like the plumbing, like you will continue to be mad and find the bad, find the negative.
Mhm.
We like the funniest thing happened last week at school. Hallie has loveys, and the week that maybe it wasn't last week, whatever.
They all blend
School,
together at
yeah,
this point.
yeah. School decided the week that we came back from having Sophie Girl that loveys were no longer going to be allowed in the classroom. We're like, okay, of course, like why? Why now?
Another
Why do
transition.
this to us? Hallie has two loveys. We make her pick one. It's fine. Well, this is like day 3 of no loveys, and we go in there and she has a quiet bag because she doesn't nap. She doesn't nap, so we have to now take a quiet bag to occupy her when the other kids are napping.
Yeah.
And so she tells me when we're at school drop off, her and my like me and the teacher are standing there, and she was like, "I need to get Gerald," and I'm like, "Hallie, Gerald's at home. Remember, loveys aren't allowed at school anymore." And she pulls out this box that she had gotten as a present. She had stuffed Gerald in the box as a stowaway and snuck him into school. And like, I wanted to be so mad because, again, it's just like, oh, like we're breaking rules. Her teacher's frustrated. I can see it. And I felt so bad and I look like an idiot. But also, like, we have just laughed at that story because how freaking smart is she to stow away Gerald in this night-night bag that she knows is going into school?
She is 3 years old, and it's scary that she can manipulate
Yeah.
the system.
Yeah. We're in trouble. Like 13 is going to be an adventure.
Yeah.
But I think that's like one of those moments where you have to laugh. I can't think of another example that we've laughed at, like off the top of my head. Maybe you call me Blippy instead of choosing to be pissed. I laughed because that
I don't
is
know. You were just like buckling Hallie in her seat, and then you're just like, like, Hallie, get in your seat.
probably because we've watched so much Blippy lately, and I don't know where it came from. Although there are worse things, like he is a character. There's something to be said about Blippy. He kind of reminds me of Goofy. Goofy did that.
Yeah.
Like he
It's
made
like every
this.
other word.
Yeah.
And it drives me nuts.
Okay, I need to record you doing it because it's a lot funnier when you do it than when I do it. Okay, learn to laugh. So Grace, learn to laugh. Another lesson that we wanted to share is to breathe, like remember to breathe, know when to walk away. You kind of touched on that about the middle of the night, but I think that it's really important that you communicate like with each other about, like I told you the other day, I was like, I am so overstimulated. I need a break. Like I'm a person, and just knowing like how to communicate with one another when you're at your like limit, because then you don't have to, then you don't snap on the wrong little human, because
Is that
that's
the day
normally
that
what
I
it is.
took Hallie to the park in 30-degree weather?
I think it was. Yeah. God love you for that. Well,
We you only got a 30-minute break, but
yeah, it was
we
needed.
braved it as long
Yeah.
as we could.
Yeah. She loved it. That's the crazy thing. Kids are like, yeah, let's go out in 30-degree weather. And I'm over
She
here.
made it for a long time, and then she's like, I don't have gloves.
That was like this morning. She was like, I'm really cold. And I'm like, well, you wouldn't wear a coat. It's 19 degrees out. So these are those moments.
Yeah,
And that leads us right into the next lesson, which is pick and choose your battles.
right.
And our biggest freaking battle is clothes. And I have just decided not to fight it anymore. So yesterday, Hallie went to school in her soccer jersey and tutu
A
skirt
tutu,
because
yeah.
she wanted to be a soccer princess. And then the week before, she went in her Rapunzel outfit because that's what she wanted to wear. And she just wants to be a princess all the time in whatever reiteration. So she picks her clothes and she looks absolutely ridiculous most of the time. But it's one of those things, pick and choose your battles. One of the things my counselor said that I put on a sticky note on our mirror was, is this a big deal? Why is this
why
a
is
big
it a
deal?
big deal?
Yeah, why is this a big deal? That was my counseling homework. I'm giving that
Yeah.
to you guys for free. Why is this a big deal? Because it's something that, like, for me, I'm like, you want to dress appropriate for the weather, and you're going to school, and you're gonna be on the playground. So no, we don't need to wear your Rapunzel outfit that we got from Disney World that like is really nice that you're probably gonna trash. But again, it's like, why is this a big deal? And so
I think mine is it going to matter in 10 years?
you
Is it
said
going to
that.
matter in 10 years that she wore a Disney princess
No.
dress to school?
Yeah, and she loves dress up. She loves to wear,
Yeah.
and most of the time it makes people really happy. That's like seen her dressed up like that. But for school, it's hard because no one else is dressed up like
Yeah.
that. And it creates problems for other people. But she doesn't care. She's just totally
She rocks
herself.
it.
Yeah, totally herself. So picking and choosing your battles. And last but not least, I think is intentionality. So some examples of how we're being intentional. You want to take that one?
Yeah. Valentine's Day was last week.
Yeah.
Was it last week? Yeah,
I don't
last
know the
week.
weeks. It was sometime this month.
But just even, with our newborn at home, taking some time out to go to brunch.
Have a hot date
Yeah, here in Huntsville, there's not any brunch ever outside of one place
during the week.
during the week,
Yeah.
besides one place that was
Yeah.
downtown. So we did spend probably an hour down there, hour and a
Yeah.
half, and we were sitting right next to the door. It was 20
Freezing
degrees,
cold.
but again, we braved it out
Yeah.
and we had a great time.
Well, that was the day. So this is when like you really test this theory of being intentional and putting your marriage first is that was the day that we got zero sleep. Hallie was up, Sophie was up, we were all up, and I woke up because the plan was to go on a date for breakfast. And I was like, we're not going. It's pointless.
I think that was like the first 2:30 morning.
Yeah, and we were not expecting it.
Yeah.
Not like you can prepare for that, but we just
And it was a rough morning too.
Yeah,
Like
she
wouldn't get dressed, wouldn't brush her hair. Like it was.
I had to take her by myself to school. That was the morning that she was climbing out of her car seat. I had to pull over and help her. I cried, she cried. Her and I were both crying.
The whole morning was a
shit
disaster.
show. It was an absolute mess. It was a mess. And so when I got home, I was like, the last thing I want to do right now is go on a freaking date in this weather because it was really cold.
But as she was going to daycare, I just looked up, brunch places in Huntsville, and I think it was a God thing. There was one place that offers brunch every single day.
And when you say brunch, you really mean mimosas because I was like,
Yeah, you just want mimosas.
I wanted a mimosa. I've been through hell, and it's supposed to be a hot date at 9 a.m. on a Friday, but we were making it work, and we went.
It worked. Yeah.
And I think that was probably one of the most quiet dates we've ever had, like in terms of just sitting in a lot of silence. Like I think if you were an onlooker, you might have been concerned about like our relationship, but we went and we were together and we took the time.
Yeah,
we didn't talk to each other. It was just not.
I hadn't had my coffee,
No.
so once the coffee started flowing,
you started talking.
We started talking a little bit more.
That is one thing. You really in the mornings.
I need my coffee.
You need your coffee. I want to talk to you as soon as I wake up.
I know, like this morning at 6:30.
I have a lot to share.
Telling me stories. I'm like,
I just stopped. I was like, he hasn't had his coffee. But also
like, that's cool.
Yeah, you did. That was rude. But the other thing is, like, that's the only time we have now. She was asleep and Hallie was still asleep. So it's like, that's the only time I can talk to you and get your undivided attention.
But the date was pretty solid. By the end of it, we had some to-dos.
We did.
That we were able to get done over the weekend and then for the next coming week. So
and we started watching a new show.
We did watch a new show, Beast Games.
Yeah, Beast Games was a recommendation from one of my close friends. It's hard for us to find shows that we like to watch together. And so, because you like scary stuff and I don't.
Well, I like a variety. But...
Yeah, and it's mostly like intense or sports.
Well, yours is all animated stuff, so, or like
that is
Love
not
is Blind, like two people sitting blind talking to each other.
Blind. It's good content, good television.
I'm not famous.
Just things that are mindless. Like when I watch those documentaries with you, they make my stomach hurt, and I feel like my heart is beating down my chest. Especially like the scary stuff or the murder documentaries,
Sometimes
and then I
just need a thrill.
No, I don't. I have enough thrill. I'm thrilled. I don't need any more. So, anyways, the Beast Games, if you haven't watched it, it's really interesting.
Beast Games is really good.
This is my pet peeve of this week. Okay. We finally find a show that we both land on. And if I don't want to watch it at 10 p.m. because I'm exhausted.
Hold on. It was 9 o'clock. It was actually 8:50.
Okay. It's a 45-minute episode. So by the time that episode wraps, it's 10 o'clock. And you keep watching without me. And I didn't tell you this, but I was so sad walking into our room. I'm like, we finally found a freaking show. It's been a minute.
I offered to go in the bed and watch it in there.
But I didn't want to stay up and watch it because I knew I'd be up with her in like 2 hours. Anyways, Beast Games, all had to be said. Circling back, I haven't used that in this podcast. Circling back, be intentional. So like, why do we share this with you? Because I think if you are in a phase of transition, not even with a kid, but just like life in your relationship, having grace for yourself, for one another, for your relationship, for the people around you. Learning to laugh is just a good life lesson, period. Remembering to breathe, knowing when to walk away, picking and choosing your battles, not just with your kids, but with each other. And then being intentional. Like we are
circling back to these games. Who wouldn't want to see the next episode is 4 Navy SEALs hunting down these contestants?
Yeah, and guess what?
Who
It was
wouldn't
going
want
to
to
be
see
there the
that?
next day.
Who wouldn't want to see that?
I would see it too. And then you made the comment, well, I can watch it again. I'm like, I'm not going to rewatch the episode with you.
You'd be watching it for the first time. I'd be rewatching.
I know, but that just seems like a waste of time.
All right, now circling back.
Okay, you've now you're just making fun of me. Yeah. But all that to be said, okay,
we are organized.
We are organized. We are sleep deprived is what we are. But you know what? We're going to do this. We did the episode. We got it done. This is an intentional moment for us too. With our baby in our lap. She made it. She made it. Yeah. We don't have long.
She's going to tell us about it here soon.
Yes. Yeah. She is a chatty Kathy, but hoping you guys have a great rest of your week. Next time we're going to talk about some big life changes for us. In addition to our baby,
addition to our big life change.
Yeah, we have so many. So excited to chat with you more soon. Thanks for listening. Make sure to like, subscribe, and share if you haven't already. We appreciate y'all.
Thank you.
Yeah, bye.
Bye.
And remember, no matter where you are on your journey, every step is a chance to grow together during both perfect and even imperfect moments.
We'll be here to help keep the conversation going, so join us next time for more insights, lots of laughs, and our story. Until then, keep talking, keep listening, and keep showing up for each other. See you next time.